This morning, a dramatic day of testimony in a London court. Prince Harry is the first member of the British royal family in 130 years to appear as a witness in court. For the prince, it's personal. He's one of 4 celebrities taking on Mirror Group newspapers, one of several tabloid media outlets he and his wife Meagan accuse of invading their privacy. Harry telling the court, as a child at school, these articles were incredibly invasive. How this material was obtained certainly shocked me. Harry has expressed outrage at growing up in a media spotlight where nothing was sacrosanct or out of bounds, something he spoke about in his Netflix docuseries.
No one knows the full truth. We know the full truth. The institution knows the full truth, and the media know the full truth because they've been in on it.
The prince's attorney, David Sherborne, alleging that the intrusion by Mirror journalists sowed the seeds of discord between Harry and his brother William and triggered bouts of depression. Sherborne telling the court Harry's mother, Princess Diana, was also a Mirror Group target, alleging her phone had also been hacked in the 90s. But legal victory in this case is far from certain for the prince. A Mirror Group lawyer arguing there is no evidence to support claims that Harry or Diana's phones were hacked. Neither was there evidence to support the extent of the alleged unlawful information gathering. Many royal watchers believe Harry is taking a huge gamble, opening himself up to potentially rigorous cross-examination. But it's a risk he's willing to take on his quest of trying to change the media landscape.
Guys, this is just truly unusual. I mean, certainly when you consider the mantra of the royal family, never explain, never complain. Now, as far as the judge and the court is concerned, the judge is saying that Prince Harry, we can expect to testify all throughout today and into tomorrow. Guys.
All right, Meagan Fitzgerald for us. Meagan, thanks. Let's get some more perspective on the case, Prince Harry's decision to take the stand and the history that surrounds all that. And for that, we welcome in NBC News royal commentator Daisy McAndrew. Daisy, good morning. It's good to see you. They talked about how it was risky because his cross-examination would be coming and he'd have to face questions. That's happening as we speak. What do you know about what's going on in the courtroom right now?
So we know that Harry and his team have selected 33 tabloid newspaper articles that were printed that they are complaining about, that they are alleging were as the result of some sort of illegal activity, hacking, or the illegal use of private investigators. They're on, I think, number 4 or number 5 of those 33 articles, taking them one by one. The barrister, the lawyer who is cross-examining Harry at the moment, who's had to ask him to speak a little bit louder, he's commonly known as the Beast, so that gives you an idea of this is going to be pretty aggressive. But I think it seems that Harry's really holding up very well. We know that this is a passionate campaign of his. He believes that the tabloid media took his mother, his mental health, his unborn baby, his family, his friends and his country. This is a mission that he's not going to give up on.
He also claims the tabloids put a real wedge between him and his brother. And when you think about it, I mean, a royal has not testified since the 1800s. So do you think that William and his father Charles might, how will they be seeing this? He kind of says he's doing it because of what the tabloids did to them.
Yeah. I think, as Meagan was saying, there's a very different attitude between the rest of the royal family and Harry. Harry has taken on this messianic attitude towards them. The rest of the royal family, I think this is an argument and a fight that he probably shouldn't have picked and may well not win. It's interesting also to think about how this case would differ from an American case. His legal team here in the UK, they are not allowed to coach him. So whatever you've seen in Suits, where you see witnesses being coached, that is allowed in the States. It's not allowed here. Harry won't even be allowed to see his legal team this evening. So he really is on his own. He's without the support of his family and in some ways without the support of his legal team.
I had no idea that's how it went down. Just lastly, when will this wrap up? When will we have a conclusion?
So Harry's bit will wrap up, I think, tomorrow afternoon. But the whole case, because there are lots of other people who are also trying to sue the Mirror newspaper. So we're thinking that the case itself could go on for a number of weeks. So, of course, we're going to have to wait until the whole case is wrapped up before we know if Harry's going to win or lose. My personal feeling is, so far, the team that are cross-examining him are making quite a good argument that nearly all these articles could have come from other means. could have come from him being spotted in the road when he was at a 16th birthday party in a pub, could have come from people at his school when they were articles got out about his broken thumb. And in fact, a number of the articles had already appeared in other newspapers. So at the moment, it's early days, but I think he's looking a bit shaky.
Okay, all right, Daisy McAndrew. Daisy, thank you. That's so interesting about
differences between
well, just the idea that he couldn't be coached by his attorneys and didn't even meet them. I mean, that's so interesting. Didn't know that.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.